Italian Football Podcast.
Hello everybody and welcome to another episode of the Italian Football Podcast. I'm Carlo Garganese, joined as always by Nima Tavali. So today we are back to our what is usually our Monday show during the season, and we haven't been doing so many of those during the summer market because there hasn't been so much to talk about, and with the things changing so quickly when the Mercato's on, we've been focusing a little bit more on Mercato deep dives and our Q&As, which are really popular with our patrons. But we thought today, seeing as our planned Juventus deep dive with Mirko di Natale, which was originally going to be on Monday, we've had to push it back to next week. We thought, because we a little window opened, we thought we'd do one of our normal shows, which we usually do on a Monday, but today we're doing on a Wednesday. So we're going to have a little bit of a catch up on some of the biggest transfer stories that are going on, see how all the Serie A teams are doing at the moment, and also we're going to react to the Italy's women in the Euros. They went out to England in heartbreaking and, well, to be frank, scandalous circumstances against England in the semi-final. So we'll talk about that as well. And we'll have a Baggio, Premface and Serie ASS of the week as well. So for all our first-time listeners, this is our free weekly episode that we do every Monday during the season, which we will usually review all the weekend Serie A action and all the biggest talking points in Italian football. If you want to support the Italian Football Podcast and receive all of our content that we do throughout the week without any ads, including a weekly Q&A episode where we answer all the questions from our patrons, plus the weekly Thursday midweek review show, which we do during the season, plus interviews, post-match reaction, and much more, then go to patreon.com/TIFP and become a subscriber for just $3.99 a month. Plus VAT, and you can also sign up to be a paid subscriber on Spotify for the same price. The link is in the description. You can also watch us on YouTube, and you can become a patron on YouTube via YouTube memberships. Just go to our YouTube channel on youtube.com/@itafootpod for more details. Okay, right then, Nima. So let's get into today's show, and I want to start off with, before we get into the Mercato, Italy's women. Okay, so before we talk about the transfer market, and we have to talk about Italy women. I know we discussed this on Monday's show. Nima, you don't watch so much of it, so I'm going to do most of the reacting. But
by all means, I saw the situation that everyone's really offended over, but yeah, it's one of those situations.
We'll get to that. Yeah. So first of all, let me just recap what happened. So Italy got through to the semi-finals of the women's Euros, Euro 2025 in Switzerland, and they've had a fantastic tournament. It's been a really special tournament. A really great group of players, really special spirit there in the camp. And they played England in the semi-finals on Tuesday evening. Huge underdogs. No one really gave them much of a hope. I think they were like 4-1 to win the game. And they played a fantastic match, a fantastic 90 minutes. They took the lead through Barbara Bonanzea. England really barely created anything in the 90 minutes, despite all their possession. Italy, on the right at the end of the game, Mr. Severini came and missed a sitter, virtually harder to miss than it was to score. In around the 90th minute, they gave 7 minutes of stoppage time, and in the sixth minute of stoppage time, heartbreakingly, the England substitute, Aynaoui, scored after a mistake by the Italy goalkeeper, who had been fantastic all game, hadn't dropped the ball, everything. She'd been so commanding all game, made a big mistake, and England scored a fortunate rebound and 1-1. Went to extra time. England were the better team in extra time. They hit the bar, and but all in all, Italy again were defending really, really well. 3 minutes to go of extra time. Looks like it's certainly going to be penalties, and the referee makes a disgraceful decision. Gives a penalty to England for, well, allegedly a pulling offence by Severini. So she had a bit of a shocker for pulling the England player Beth Mead. If you watch the replay, it's a scandalous decision to give a penalty for that kind of, where actually if you watch it, I've just been sent 2 new angles of it today. If you watch it on all the angles, it's actually the England player that's pulling Severini's arm down, so she has no choice. And so it's actually, if anything, it's an offence by the England player, but it's just not a penalty in a million years. A referee that was letting all kinds of physical challenges go all game, and of course there's uproar in Italy. The players are heartbroken. They've done, they've fought so hard. They just put in a fantastic game, and to lose the game, a semi-final. First of all, with a 96-minute equaliser when you're seconds away from the European Championship final, and then to lose a game in extra time like that is it's heartbreaking, and it's scandalous.
I think my issue with that is, again, the VAR protocol, the way that it's written, and that is that in that situation when the referee gives that call, the VAR can't intervene because the legal framework doesn't allow for them to intervene, because it's not a clear and obvious error. And this is why I keep coming back to that I don't like the application of the clear and obvious error protocol, because I don't think that's a penalty either. But once the referee gives that, it's the referee's call, and unless the referee has seen something that the images don't show, or the images show something that the referee hasn't seen, they can't intervene. They just can't. And again, this is what I have a problem with the VAR protocol. This is my biggest gripe. This is my biggest problem with the VAR protocol, is exactly this, because it becomes too bureaucratic, its application, and I don't like that at all. But yeah, that's my only thing. Other than that, I think, of course, it's not a penalty. I think you see challenges like that all over the pitch, and if you're going to give, if you're not going to give that as a free kick, which it isn't for anyone, then it's not a penalty either. So that's the only thing I have to say about that. As for Italy, the Italy women, look, they should be very proud of themselves. No one had them reaching a semi-final, much less being seconds away from a European Championship final. No one had them there. They were absolutely not favored. They were not amongst the favorites, and they were the surprise of the tournament. And I think that's excuse me. And I think that's a positive thing for Italy, for the Italian women, and for the entire project surrounding that. So got to give them credit.
They were only turned professional 3 years ago. They were amateurs until 3 years ago. So I think they should be very, very proud. And I think that there's a few general points I want to make here, and this will be a little bit controversial. I know you won't agree with at least one of these, but there's a few things I want to say. First of all, when it comes to any, and this is my issue with penalties in general, but penalty, red card, whatever, whenever you have, especially a massive tournament game, a quarter-final, a semi-final, a final, a game where it's in or out. It's not a league season where generally, as we're always told, it's a bit of a cliche, these things even each other out over the course of the season. In a big tournament game, one good or bad decision from a referee will decide a knockout game, and it will decide a tournament. When you're in the semi-final of a European Championship, whether it's men's, women's, kids, Sunday League, whatever, if it's the 117th minute and it's a moment, an in or out moment, if you're going to give a penalty, it has to be 100% a penalty. You do not give a penalty. I mean, that's not even 5% penalty. But you don't give
not even a foul. It's a challenge in the middle. I mean, I wouldn't.
Yeah.
You don't even give that as a free kick for either the attacking team or a defending team. It's just nothing.
So that's the first point I want to make. I just want, referees just need to understand that if you're going to give something that's going to decide a semi-final or quarter-final or final of a European Championship or a World Cup or a Champions League or any knockout tournament, you have to be 100% sure. And the protocol, like you said, needs to change so that if they do make a mistake, the protocol can overturn it because they have to understand that, listen, this isn't league. This isn't like Liverpool when they were crying about, that goal in match day 5. Oh, we've lost the league. They've robbed us of the league. It's match day 5 of the Premier League. You've got another 33 games of the season to go. It's not semi-final of the Euros, 117th minute, and that's it. It's all over. Do you know what I mean? So that's the number one point. I want to make. I should also add in the protocol, and you're going to love this. The Times have just put out a report saying they've got information that UEFA have flat out said they're not going to review the price. This has come out just now as we're talking. Actually, I've seen it pop up. That they're not going to change the protocols to allow VAR to have more powers with second
this
yellow
is a
cards.
Mistake.
Second yellow cards.
Yeah,
and just to finish, that's exactly what point I'm making. Imagine you're playing in a World Cup final, and a player gets gets a second yellow card wrongly, say in the first half, and that's it. That's decided the World Cup final because the VAR won't overturn it. So
can't overturn, not won't, can't. And that's the issue. It's not that it won't, but it can't. It's not allowed to, and that's the issue. I think the way out of these things is more transparency and using technology to fix mistakes. I really don't think this. Humans make mistakes. That's fine, but there should be room to rectify it. That's the only thing for me, that's my perception of this. I think this is a wrong decision. I think this is wrong. I think this is foolish, because not just even in the league season as well. I mean, I do think that yes, a mistake is a mistake, and if you lose the league by 1 point, then at the end of the day that decides it, right? My issue is that I want transparency, I want uniformity, and I want the ability of the technology to be able to overrule mistakes. That's because no one can sit here and tell me with a straight face that they're okay with mistakes happening. You can't be that. The point of having a referee, the point of having laws of the game, applying them, all of this is to not have discrepancies.
And the point of having VAR,
mistakes.
The point of having VAR, Nima, is to avoid, because mistakes are always going to happen. That's human nature. You're going to always have mistakes. The point of VAR was to eliminate these huge injustices like the penalty that we saw England get against Italy. The ones that are not even a debate. Even though having said that, though, that I was watching a game on ITV in England and they all said it was a Stonewall penalty. But I mean,
I was watching. They were saying that this contact. There was contact. I was like, but there's football's a contact sport, no? Like every contact does not warrant a foul, and that's the issue. But
we don't take what they say seriously. But so that's what VAR is supposed to be. And if VAR isn't going to overturn that, then then you understand.
Well, it can't, and that's because of the way the protocol is written, and I don't like it, and I've never liked it. I've been saying this since it was introduced. That I don't like the way that it's written, the way that it's applied. I really have a problem with it. I really do.
The second point I want to make is. And some people are not going to like this, but I have to be honest, right? Since in football, and this is true of anyone that's in power, in football, the most powerful entities, whether it's a club, whether it's a figure, whether it's an association, will always, whether you want to call it consciously or unconsciously, get more decisions than the smaller entities. That's just human nature. So again, I'm not saying there's anything revolutionary here. But at the moment, in football now, there's no doubt about it. English football, the Premier League, the England Football Association is by a distance the most powerful politically, economically. They have all the power in football. And within UEFA, I'm just going to say it, England virtually own UEFA because there's a simple reason for this, right? And you've said it yourself. In 2021, when there was the Super League, there was this Super League uprising, which could have, would have ended UEFA. That was the end of UEFA. UEFA was finished if that went through, that Super League. England saved UEFA. They saved them. The English government got involved, which, by the way, politically is actually written in FIFA's statutes is not allowed. You get an instant ban if the government.
Well, they're allowed to protect the business. Well, it's not that black and white.
Okay, all right, okay. Well, whatever. Anyway, the point I'm making is England saved UEFA, right? So UEFA owe England forever now. They owe them forever. They owe their lives to England, and then since then, I'm sorry, but it's been quite clear the favouritism that's been going towards England in tournaments, in the hosting of tournaments. I mean, England seem to get every single other Champions League, every other hosting. They've just got the Euros again. I mean, how many Euros are they going to have? And, you know, again, you saw in a game like this where you've got a very powerful country, England, against, in women's football, a very weak, you know, fledgling country that's only been professional for 3 years. And if you combine the finances, if you combine the players, I mean, don't get me wrong, England are player for player a much better team than Italy.
Much better team.
But on the day, in 90 minutes, I think Italy deserved to win. But the point I'm making is that there's everybody, lots of people are seeing it. Lots of people are seeing it. And a lot of it's unconscious because, like I said, in football, whenever you have someone, a powerful league or powerful club or powerful figures, they're going to unconsciously favour, and the big teams will generally get favoured over the small teams because it's just how human nature works, you know, psychologically. But that's the other point I'll make. It's not right and it's not fair because
I don't know. I don't think this was that, to be honest. I think this was more an issue of an inept referee who and also the VAR protocol that doesn't allow to fix these mistakes. I think in this instance it is that. I think it was not nice to see. You could see how much it meant for the Azzurre as well, and it's not nice because my thing with referees is I don't want referees to be the talking point after a game. I want the players to decide it. I want the referee to not have a leading role. At all. I want the referee to make sure that the level is fair, it's transparent, it's consistent, and then let the athletes decide, right? I think here we saw an instance of poor refereeing and the VAR protocol not being able to intervene more than UEFA. As for the political side of it, look, Premier League is a financial juggernaut, and UEFA lives off of that. And the reason why England didn't save, or Britain didn't, the British government rather, didn't save UEFA. The British government saved one of its biggest export products, the Premier League. And as a result of that, they also saved UEFA.
Yeah.
So it's when interests converge, you don't need a formal conspiracy when interests converge. And that's what happened here. They have the same interest, and that is to maintain the status quo because the Premier League is a cash cow, and UEFA gets most of its money from this cash cow and is able to market it and so on, and has the rights to these teams. So it's very, you know, it's just very simple.
Yeah, no, that's fair. That's fair. The other point I want to make, and just to finish off, coming on your point, which I totally agree with about, you know, I want football matches to be decided by the players. I don't want them to be decided by the referees. I agree. And that gets multiplied when you get into knockout matches because you can't recover from it. But this is why, for a long time, I've been rallying, and I know you disagree with me. I've been rallying against penalties and why I want penalties taken out of football because I don't want to see football matches and tournaments decided by penalties. I want to see them decided by players. I don't want to see them decided by a referee making a mistake.
But so see, that's the thing. Referee making a mistake is a different thing. The penalty is to prevent one team essentially assaulting the attacking team because they can't keep up with that team. Like, my issue with penalties is still, I think that it needs to be reformed. I think the issue is that when you have these kind of when players are running out of the penalty area with their backs against the goal and a player is fouled on the edge and there's zero chance of scoring and you have to give that it needs to be reformed.
Agreed.
Whether it's you have a penalty area,
the smaller penalty area,
area, or if you have from just certain, do you know what, something, I don't know what the solution is, but something needs to be reformed, because right now the penalty area is way too big. I think it's way too big. I think when you can't score, when there's literally no chance of scoring and there's an infringement or sorry, there's a foul and it has to be a penalty, the referee can't do anything. I think that's a problem. And I think it needs to be reformed. I think there needs to be, IFAB need to put out a working group that's, with experts and former referees who actually do this properly and go through it with the stats of, okay, do we use the XG? I mean, how many, what's the likelihood of, I'm open to all solutions.
I agree. I don't have the answer. Like what I understand, I agree that you can't just say no penalties, because if you say no or no offence, because if you do that, then it's just going to be, you've got a chance to score. You're going to get professional fouls. You can get professional fouls and things like that. So I agree it needs to be removed. I don't know exactly. I think the smaller penalty area is an idea. Number one, I just can't stand it when football matches, especially when they're really tight and they get decided by a soft or completely scandalous call like that. It's not fair. And number two, the reward for the doesn't meet the offence. So an XG from a penalty foul of, let's say, 0. You got 0. Most of the time like a 0.1 XG chance of scoring. I think is the average, something around that. When a penalty is given, and then it immediately becomes a 0.8 XG, 80% chance of scoring the penalty. So you go from a 10% chance of scoring a goal when the foul is made in the penalty area to an 80% chance of scoring. I mean, that doesn't match. The crime doesn't fit the
I think it needs to be reformed. I really, really think that it needs to be reformed. And I think there are ways that you can get through that, but you can do that. But you need to have people look at this properly without stress, like go through it. What can be done? How can it be improved? Look at all the data, look at all the metrics, look at look at how penalties are given, use AI and technology to see where are penalties given, most of them statistically. Why are they given? Is it handball offenses? Is it fouls? I mean, what is it, right? And then work out something to come up with a proposal based on that. If it takes a year, if it takes 2 years, that's fine. But as long as it's a thoroughly thought out, worked out proposal, and it's a proposal that ensures that there are penalties given still for fouls, but we're not giving away stupid and silly penalties, because the Serie A last season, with that idiot Rocky in charge, 1 week saying he doesn't want soft penalties, and then the week after all VAR audio's disappearing and soft penalties being given, and then much more clearer penalties not given. That needs to stop. I don't want to give this to the hands of the referees because I don't trust them. I want there to be clearer laws. I want there to be clearer instructions, and more transparency and more coherence in how these things are applied. And I think it's not impossible. It'll take time, but I think most people are willing to wait for it if there is a thorough proposal.
There has been, by the way, Nima, there has actually been some request, or there has been some debate on whether they remove rebounds from penalties in normal play.
I think so as well. I hate that. It gives it gives the goalkeeper zero chance. They're already at a disadvantage. But I don't like the
you've already got a 1 in 5 chance of
exactly
saving the
like
penalty.
in ice hockey. When you have a penalty shot, if you miss it, or if you score, you score, fine. But if you miss it, then there's a face-off. But do you know what I mean? Like, you don't get to have a rebound on your own penalty. Like, it's just not fair. And there in ice hockey, it's even more difficult to score. It's very difficult to score.
I should add also, by the way, another thing with VAR, there was an England player encroaching on the penalty yesterday, which the VAR
they need to either get rid of that
as well. I mean, I don't really care.
They need to either get rid of but they either need to get rid of that or actually enforce it all the time. Why is your camera disappeared?
My camera's gone. We'll carry on. Don't worry.
We'll carry on.
I'll try and get this back. I don't know what's happened to me.
You did something.
No, I did nothing. I did nothing at all.
You most definitely did.
I didn't press a thing. I didn't press the theory. Maybe
okay.
maybe England's FA or the UEFA are trying to censor me here.
Yeah, I don't know.
Right. Okay. Well, listen. We'll move on to Victor Osimhen. While I try and sort this out, you can tell me about Victor Osimhen's legacy. He's about to join Galatasaray for 75 million plus 10% sell-on fee. What is Osimhen's legacy at Napoli, and how will he be remembered at Napoli? Is he a Napoli legend? I'll answer that first, and then we'll come on to whether he's kind of thrown away his career. We'll come on to that after, when I've hopefully got my camera back. So you take it away, and I'll try and sort out my camera.
I think Osimhen, Kvara, what they did at Napoli. Look, Napoli only have 4 Scudetti, and I think the idea, that season that they won, the way that they won it, as Spalletti famously said, we have a obligation to our history at Napoli to play in a certain way. We have an obligation to the Maradona, the Careca, and so on, to not that if we win, we do so in this specific way. The way that they won it and the way that they won it deservedly, with a big margin, and playing some fantastic football, not just in the Serie A, but also in Europe. Lest we forget the hammering of Liverpool that we saw in the Champions League that season at the Maradona. And he was an integral part of that, Kvara, Kim Min-jae, and Victor Osimhen. So he will always be remembered as a hero at Napoli. He's written history at Napoli. Again, won 25% of all the Scudetti that Napoli have won. He's pretty much he's the symbol of that Scudetto. So he will always be remembered as a Napoli legend. And his legacy, however, it's a little bit more complicated. It's a little bit when we're talking about Simone Inzaghi's legacy at Inter, in the sense that it becomes a little bit more complicated and nuanced. Let's remember that Victor Osimhen spent, after having won the Scudetto, the following season, it was a complete deterioration and it was complete argument. I'm not saying all of that was his fault. A lot of that was De Laurentiis' fault. But the manner in which he leaves Arsenal, and also all the breakdowns, all the outbursts, all the anger, all the fighting, that the manner in which he leaves Napoli will leave a bad taste in everyone's mouth, from Napoli to Osimhen to everyone. But I do also know that, had he joined a Juve, that would have ruined his legacy, similar to Higuain's. But now he goes to Galatasaray, Napoli get fully reimbursed, everyone's happy. They can kind of leave, similarly to how Kvara left, on amicable terms. And I think that kind of saves his legacy a little bit. But of course, it would be wrong not to acknowledge the fact that this was a player who probably should have achieved more at Napoli, probably should have been a leading figure in winning last season's Scudetto as well. But instead he was just, he was sent away like a naughty schoolboy to Turkey for a year. And that'll leave a, all of that is kind of, it's a complex legacy. But I think when all is said and done, in 10 years, 15 years time, I think him and Kvara will be remembered very fondly in Naples, unless of course they go to a Juve at some point, which I think is highly unlikely for Kvara, given that he's a PSG, and I don't see Juve or any Italian team being able to buy Kvara unless it's on a free transfer. And the same applies to Osimhen. I mean, okay, he goes to Galatasaray. They've spent 75 million euros on him, but unless he goes to one of Napoli's, a big no-no, I think he'll be remembered very fondly.
Well, they've got a clause in the contract so that Galatasaray can't sell him to an Italian club for 2 years, at which point he'll be pushing on 29. So, yeah, I think that I don't think that's. I think that's out of the question now. Really, you know, in terms of the Juventus or another club. Yeah, I think that yes, it is a complex legacy, but I think, like you said, at the end of the day, whenever Napoli win the Scudetto, and it's very rare, they've only won 4 times in their history, and that Scudetto that Osimhen won was the first one they'd won since Maradona, 33 years, was it? You know, so he of course he'll be remembered as a legend on the pitch. On the pitch, a legend. You know, his goal scoring record's outstanding. You know, more than one goal in 2 games on average. And you know,
I mean, the season when they won the Scudetto, he was the MVP. Kvara was not the MVP. I know Kvara was given the MVP. He shouldn't have been. He should have been the under-21 player of the season. But the MVP should have been Osimhen. He was the best player of that season in the Serie A. There's no doubt about that.
Yeah, he scored 31 goals.
Yeah, he was the symbol of that Scudetto. And, you know, they reached the quarterfinal of the Champions League, which is the best Napoli have ever done. So, you know, again, that Liverpool game was just unbelievable. They dismantled Liverpool. So, you know, they were a very good side, and he was the symbol, the flag bearer of that Napoli.
Yeah, agreed. Though, having said all that, we have to say Victor Osimhen. First of all, before I ask the question, I've had this discussion with a lot of people. A lot of people have come to me and asked this question, especially, you know, with regards to the Premier League clubs. How the hell has Victor Osimhen not joined a major club, a major European club, why have no Premier League club actually, you know, and all this time in the last 2 years, no Premier League club or, you know, Barcelona, Madrid, PSG, none of them have actually come in with a concrete bid for Victor Osimhen, and it's something I just can't understand. I
understand it. I think it's got nothing to do with the football. I think we're talking about someone who has, due to his own actions, given himself a rumor of being difficult to work with. We remember when he joined Napoli during COVID, and this video of him throwing money at girls at a party in Nigeria getting COVID going viral. We remember that. We remember his constant hissy fits on social media, whether it was against the club, whether it was against Kvaratskhelia agent, whether it was these constant disturbances of him, of his rather. And Premier League clubs look at the price tag, they look at that, they look at some of the injury history, and they go, we're not going anywhere near that. We're not going anywhere near that. But the ability, I still think that in terms of like tactically, football-wise, I think he's like the prototype of a Premier League footballer. He can really do everything. And he's aerially fantastic. Absolutely unbelievable.
Best in the world.
Yeah. He's very dynamic. His pressing is fantastic. He can score with both feet. He's a great link-up player. He's a good finisher. He's a high-intensity player. He has everything. But I think the arguing, the contract situation, the constant meltdowns, the disciplinary issues, and also to some extent maybe the injury history to a lesser extent, I think that just made people look at the price tag and go, now we're going elsewhere.
Possibly. The thing is that you speak to people that in training, he's very well, like his professionalism.
Oh, there's no doubt about
very, very professional. He's a fantastic trainer. He works really hard. He keeps himself fit in training. He has high demands of himself. I don't think there's any issue there. Whether it is, like you said, maybe when there's international breaks, when there's, you know, I don't know, but it doesn't, even with everything you've said, and I'm not, like, we don't know, I'm not sure we know, we're close enough to the club to know exactly how much of an issue this is. Obviously, there has been some high profile, the contracts up, and a lot of that was Napoli's fault as well, you know, so it goes both ways, doesn't it? I still don't, even with all that, you know, I still find it difficult because I look at like this is especially this summer where basically every single Premier League club this summer has been in the market for a striker. Manchester United still looking for one. Arsenal are buying Gyökeres. Liverpool are buying Ekitike. Chelsea bought Dilat, but they still probably need a top number 9. Okay, City have got Haaland, so they're all right. So all of the top clubs, apart from City, are looking for a top striker. They've all got the money to buy Osimhen, yet none of them have even come close. Yeah. So no one it's never really been they've never even really considered it, to be honest. Now, if I look at who they bought, for me, Osimhen is certainly, there's no doubt about it, Osimhen is more proven than Gyökeres and Ekitike. Proven. He's done it in a Serie A, which is a better league than the Bundesliga, and it's a better league, certainly a better league than the Portuguese league. He's done it in Europe. He's done it consistently over more seasons than these players. He's younger. He's a bit younger than slightly younger than Gyökeres. And he's cheaper than both as well. Like Osimhen is 75. Okay, the salary is higher, and I understand. So that's something. The salary is high. But I mean, Ekitike's scoring record is really not very good, and he's gone for 95 million. So for me, like that's what I don't understand. I don't understand it.
Look, from a footballing wise, like I said, I think footballing wise, no, I don't get it. But I think there are other factors, and I think all of these things, this off the pitch stuff, I think people look at the price tag, 70, 80, 90 million. You're not willing, with how corporate the Premier League is, and you don't want that headache.
What about, is he throwing away his career? Because we're talking about, really, on paper, one of the top
I'm surprised.
Top five strikers of today, of the last few years.
I'm surprised.
He's going to spend all of his peak years, in Turkey?
I'm surprised that PSG didn't go in for him, because I think someone like with Luis Enrique as well, like the kind of striker that he likes to have, I think he would have been ideal for Osimhen, for PSG, but they didn't want to do that. Again, I think it's got to do with other things, unfortunately, because the football ability non si discute. It's not up for discussion. It's there. It's fantastic. But I think it's the reputation that he's gotten, and it's unfair, you could say, but it is what it is, and it's a shame, because I really think that he could have been. I really think that when it comes to, I mean, right now, if you look at strikers in the world, I think technically he's one of the best. I mean, if you look at number 9s, Lautaro's a fantastic technical striker. Thuram's has great technique. Osimhen's got great technique. But other than that, there's not really any natural number 9s with fantastic technical ability. I think Osimhen is one of the best, if not the best, when it comes to like number 9s with fantastic technical ability. And also the fact that he can do all these things that we mentioned. But it's a shame. I really do think it's a shame. I really do.
Yeah, I do as well, because, it's going to be sad, with all due respect to Napoli, my family's from Naples. I love Napoli. And of course, it's still a really big club. But, when you look back on you're going to look back on Osimhen's career, and you're going to see list of clubs: Lille, Napoli, Galatasaray. I mean, yeah, it does feel like a waste. It feels like, he's not played at the level that he
could have played at.
He should have played at, But anyway, I'm sure a lot of Galatasaray and Turkish fans are going to be upset at us now for saying that. But let's talk about Atalanta. Two topics. First of all, Retegui has officially left now. He's joined Al-Qadsiya for 67.5 million or 68.5 million. Lookman is going to leave too. Inter is a bit stalled at Inter, but I mean, we know he's going to leave.
Do we, though? I'm not entirely sure. I mean, Atalanta don't budge.
It's not a bigger gap between offer and demand. 40 million Inter offering, they want 45 plus 5. I mean, if it's not Inter, you'd think someone will pay that. You'd think. I mean, for me, that's an absolute bargain. If, like I said the other day, if you get the Atalanta Osimhen, if you get the Osimhen, Osimhen. If you get the Atalanta Lookman, if you get the Atalanta stars that have left Atalanta in recent years, then it's a waste of money. But I mean, we've talked about Retegui and Lookman, so there's no point in us talking again. I want to talk about Chiesa though, because Atalanta are in talks to sign Chiesa for around about 12 million euros. Liverpool will contribute some of his salary, it seems, because he's on a big salary. What do you think? What do you think? First of all, what do you think of Atalanta going from, let's say, Retegui? What do you think of the players that Atalanta are bringing in to replace these top players that they're losing?
Yeah, I'm a little bit concerned.
I'm worried.
I'm a little bit concerned because it feels like this is really a reboot of the Atalanta project. I think the Atalanta that we've used to competing for the top four, being outsiders to win the Scudetto, being an outsider in Europe, those days are over now. I think this is a complete reboot of the project, and we have to kind of see where they are, where they will find their feet. But I do have confidence in their ability to replace players with unearthed gems. That's something they are very good at. Tactically, it's going to be it's going to be pretty much more of the same. Juric is a Gasperini disciple, slightly different in the sense that he's more defensively solid, then he's more attacking minded. But I do think that I think there's an unknown factor to Atalanta, and the Atalanta that we've all come to love, that has charmed the world, that continues to punch above their weight, continues to perform miracles at a normalizing miracles as they've done, beating Liverpool, beating the top sides in the Premier League, winning European trophies. It's those days are over, perhaps, but where do they go from here? It's a little bit of a crossroads, but I do think I do trust their ability to unearth new talent, unearth new jewels and gems, and get them going into this system. It's going to be very interesting to see Scamacca returning, Scalvini. This is a really important season for Scamacca and Scalvini. I hope they can stay injury free. It's gonna, if Chiesa comes in, well, with Chiesa, I think this is his level now. I think this is a good place for him to be, and let's see how Juric utilizes him. Does he even get in the team? How fit is he? Is this going to be another Zaniolo, or is this going to be a Cristante, someone who comes to Atalanta and has a breakthrough? I'm not so sure. I don't know. I really don't know.
I hope it reboots him. I really do. I pray that the magic juice at Atalanta can revitalize him like it's revitalized other coaches. And I don't mean that in the way that you're laughing. I mean that they've done it before with so many players that we thought are on the way. Papu Gomez, Ilicic, Scamacca before he got the injury. Players that we think, well, they're not fulfilling their ability, and De Ketelaere for sure.
There's few examples as Charles De Ketelaere. I mean, it's just he really expressed what a fantastic player.
Lookman. I mean, how can we forget Lookman? Yeah. I mean, look how they've got these players. So Chiesa, okay, it's a little bit different after you're coming back from an ACL, a serious injury. It's different, but I'm praying, because at the end of the day, on talent alone, there's no doubt Chiesa is still Italy's best winger. I know you don't think he's a winger, but you know what I mean. He's their best.
Well, he was before the ACL, but now.
But even like in terms of actual ability, he's still probably the best attacker we've got. But it's whether you can get him back to even if he gets to 70% of his former self, he'll still be better than probably the others. So let's see what they can do. It could be a good move for him. They've done it in the last years. They're in the Champions League, so they'll be playing at a high level. But he's getting Chiesa close to maybe where Zaniolo was this time last year, when we probably had the same conversation about Zaniolo, and we said, look, in fact, we probably had exactly the same conversation.
I was going to say,
Zaniolo, his career is falling away. He's coming off an ACL. He hasn't been the same player since the injuries. But Atalanta have done this with this player and this player and this player. Can they do it with Zaniolo? And they didn't. They didn't do it with Zaniolo. He failed. He flopped. He left in mid-season. And now, I think, as we said, it's the end of... Where the hell is Zaniolo? He's back at Galatasaray now. No one wants him. Mm-hmm. He's probably the end of his career, it seems. It could be the end of his career at the age of, 25?
Well, I don't think him going into a Primavera game allegedly drunk and punching up youth team players helped his career much either. Speaking of off-field antics, which is just insane. But I just want, on a broader sense, what do we think of this Atalanta project? Because now, okay, there's tactical continuation with Juric, but where are we with this? They sold Ruggeri, which I
don't want to wait until the end of the window first to see what the squad looks like before I say. But I would say again, like we've spoken about with other clubs, and I know we're going to come on to Juventus and Milan in a bit. And we've spoken about Napoli and how we like the position that they're in going forward, but it's not the end of the window. So I would say the same. Where I see Atalanta right now, and what seems to be transpiring in terms of players coming in, players coming out, I am a bit worried for them. I am concerned about the coach. I know you're a little bit more confident on the coach than me. I'm a little bit concerned on the coach. I'm concerned on the players, but the players that I see that are leaving and the players that I see they're being linked to or in negotiations with, or even including Chiesa, which we're talking about players that are probably downgrades on paper. Or gambles on paper, but we've been proven wrong. Everyone's been proven wrong multiple times on that before. But I tell you one thing I am slightly concerned of, and this is without having deep knowledge of the people that are in management and that are running things at Atalanta. Atalanta have also lost some important people off the pitch in recent years. Sartori, who's a genius and is now at Bologna. We've already seen in the short time he's been at Bologna kind of what he's doing already at Sartori. And usually it takes a bit of time for that to play out on the pitch. Once you lose someone like Sartori, you're not just going to see an overnight collapse. It might take 1 or 2 or 3 transfer windows before you actually see, because these kind of people they work with long-term projects. They'll have a big database of players that they're going to target. And if somebody leaves, well, you've still got that, you've still got it all kind of mapped out for you. But then after maybe a year or 2, then you start to see the slow decline. So losing Sartori, but they also lost someone who the people I've been speaking to, that they lost the executive technical director, Sudarshan Gopaladesikan, his name is. He's just been appointed as Newcastle's new technical director. So he spent the last 3 years at Atalanta as a director of football intelligence. And the people that before that he was at Benfica, and we know how good Benfica are at identifying talent and nurturing talent. People I've been speaking, I remember last year somebody offered him to us to come onto our podcast last year, and I wish we'd actually followed that through. I can't remember who it was, but somebody offered him to us to come on the pod. People I've spoken to have said that this guy's a genius, and the work that he does in finding these players, and I think he relies on data a lot as well. He's obviously got a good eye for talent, but so when you lose people like Sartori, you lose this guy. Again, I don't have a deep enough knowledge of who's replaced these guys, how good they are. So, but I'm just saying.
No, but it is a concern. It is a concern
when you lose people, that special people. There's not that many people that are really special behind the scenes. You can't. You're not going to have an exhausting amount of people that can do these jobs. So when you lose 2 great figures like this, then that concerns me as well.
Of course it is, but for me, it's also a little bit the Percassi family. How involved are they? I mean, I know they've sold the majority of their stakes to Steve Paliuca. How much longer are they going to stay in before they finally sell off and cut all their ties? Because I think that's the key.
Is it their plans to do that? I don't know. I don't know if it is.
Well, I think at some point they would want to do the exit, wouldn't they? I mean, at some point, that's usually how it works. You sell a majority, and then you prepare your exit, and then we'll see what Steve Paliuca does, if he's able to nurture what he has inherited. But we're kind of leading into that kind of area. I look at the squad, even without Lookman. If they can keep Ederson, it's a very good squad. It's a very good Serie A squad. But there are questions.
The issue is that they haven't bought anybody that's going to be in the first 11 so far.
No, but they do players that could perhaps, do that.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? Like
I look at the
they have
players they
Sam
bought.
Arzic, they still have. Do you know what I mean? Like they still have decent players.
Oh yeah, but have they? So far, they've downgraded. That's what I'm going to say. There's no doubt about that. They've downgraded so far. But then again, they have Scamacca coming back. We have to see how he does because he could be like a new signing, to use another football cliche. Juventus and Milan.
Yeah,
I'm going to put these two together a little bit. Let me ask you, as a neutral, are you a little bit concerned with the way that things are going in the market for Juventus and Milan?
For Juve, absolutely, because Juve, I don't understand what the hell they're doing. I genuinely don't understand what's going on at Juve. This whole Joao Mario Costa thing, I need you to explain that to me like I'm 5 years old, because I don't understand. I don't understand what's going on. Like I'm talking to people, to journalists and people I know in Portuguese football, and they're laughing. They're wondering,
Really?
they're wondering.
What do they say about Joao Mario?
They're wondering. They say they'd pay 5 million to get rid of Joao Mario. That's what I'm hearing from people who cover Porto full time. They pay 5 million to get rid of Joao Mario.
Well, they have done, and they've got.
But you know what I mean. But they don't.
They literally have paid 5 million because the deal is Juventus paid 10 million for Joao Mario, and they sell Costa.
I know, but
for 15. So they literally have paid 5 million.
The point is, like, they don't. People don't understand what Juventus are thinking.
I haven't seen enough of Joao Mario to really say how good I think he is. But I mean, if you're saying that and you've spoken to people, then I'm
the cover Porto.
I'm worried. I watched him play against Arsenal in a Champions League game when it was a quarter-final that Arsenal won on penalties.
I'll quote.
Let
me quote to you a Portuguese journalist I know who works for one of the big outlets that covers Porto full time. Worse than selling Alberto is getting Joao Mario in exchange plus a few millions. What the hell are Juventus doing?
Okay. Well, thanks. That makes it feel so much better.
And it's not just one person. This is what I'm getting from everyone I speak to in Portuguese football.
I'll say this: Costa hasn't really impressed me. I'll say that he hasn't really impressed me. He's looked like somebody that's just started playing football 6 months ago. Like, I'm not saying he doesn't have some raw qualities. He does. He has pace. He seems to be offensively, got a few weapons, but like his game intelligence in terms of understanding positioning and certainly defensively, he looks like he just started playing football 6 months ago. So it doesn't surprise me that they're getting rid of him. Having said that, though, seeing Juventus's recent record of offloading young talents before they've given them a chance to
have to talk about this because I'm sorry.
Like, they've done that so many times.
Hoyson, Sule, what's his name? Fagioli, Rovella. Who else have we got?
There's definitely a few more.
I mean, it's just what the hell?
Yeah.
I mean,
there's so many. I mean, I wouldn't put from what I've seen, I wouldn't put Costa in that bracket. I mean, I wasn't against selling Fagioli because I don't think he'll ever become a top Juventus level player. I was very much against the others being sold, though.
De Winter, who's now at Genoa. Hans Nicolosi Caviglia, who's been outstanding at Venezia. I mean, it's really piling up.
Well, I'm not against Caviglia. Will never be a Juventus level player, but what you can say is there's a sporting angle and a financial angle. By selling Caviglia that quickly, De Winter too soon, Hoyson as well too soon. You're losing financially massively because you would have been able, if you kept them for a little bit longer, you'd have been able to sell them for double, or in the case of Hoyson, quadruple the amount. Then there's the sporting angle. Which of these players should you keep because we should control them because potentially they could be good enough? Well, in that case, Hoyson potentially, Sule potentially, Rovella maybe already.
Absolutely. I think those already go without saying.
So there's two angles here. There's a financial. With Costa, from what I've seen so far, he hasn't convinced me. from what I've seen so far. But
no, neither of them.
But Juventus have got such a bad record of doing this. But then you, again, like you said, you have to look at the replacement. Is Joao Mario? I can't answer that. If your Portuguese friends are telling you that, and
they're laughing.
Portuguese football,
and it's not just one person. It's everyone. People who support Benfica, people who support Porto, people who support Sporting. Everyone I've spoken to are just wondering what the hell Juventus are doing, and they just don't understand it. Like it's an enigma.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
Well, I mean, but then again, the proof will be in the pudding once he starts playing.
Well, put it this way: look, Weah's leaving as well, right?
Yeah.
He's in negotiations to Marseille. So if they sell Costa, replace with Mario, and sell Weah, they surely have to sign another right wing back because that's the only one unless I'm forgetting.
Well, there's rumors of Molina from Atletico Madrid who was at Udinese, which makes sense to me. But again,
I mean, he's decent, but he's an Atletico Madrid reserve. He's surplus to record. Yeah, like you said, I think that's the best way to sum it up. I don't understand quite.
I don't understand the thinking.
I don't quite understand what their strategy is. I mean, I went on to a Juventus pod yesterday with Luca Monblano, his pod, and we were discussing this. And I said he asked me about Sancho. He said, would Sancho be a good signing for Juventus? And I said to him, and this is where I stand with Juventus right now. I said I have no problem with signing Sancho, right? But if it comes to the end of the market and Juventus have signed Sancho, but they haven't strengthened the areas that they glaringly need, which are left centre back, right wing back, and a striker if Kolo Muani doesn't come. And at the moment, they're struggling to get the Kolo Muani deal over the line. If the Kolo Muani deal doesn't happen, it's total disaster. You're at the stage where maybe even top four might be in doubt because you've only got Jonathan David and you've got no one else. You've got Vlahovic, who's I don't know what the hell he is, a sitting duck. So they need those three. Those are the three priorities. They should be the three priorities. If you're talking about Juventus strategy, they should be working on them. And then once you've got that done, then you can look at other positions. You can look at a Sancho. If you want Joao Mario as a backup, because maybe that's what he's good enough for, then fine. But they should be focusing on the necessities. And this is the same issue that I had last summer when Juventus went out and they signed all these they stockpiled on central midfielders last time. They signed too many central midfielders last year for a lot of money. Right? Spent all that money on Coop Miners, Douglas Luiz, and Thuram. They signed 3 centre midfielders, which was at least one too many. And then they left areas that with glaring holes because they spent all their money in one area. Then they signed Di Gregorio for 20 million, who was excellent, and I think he's a really good goalkeeper. I think he's Juventus quality, but they could have kept Szczesny for one more season, saved that money, and spent that 20 million on a position they need. So Juventus need to get their priorities right. And that's what I don't like most of all about their marketing. But it doesn't seem like they're strategizing and they're prioritizing what they should be doing first.
Yeah, and to me, getting rid of Vlahovic to replace him with Rasmus Højlund, you're replacing a World War tank with another World War I tank. I mean,
you love stealing that life.
No, but it's brilliant because it's so funny. But it literally is garbage in, garbage out. I mean, what's the difference? What's the difference between Højlund and Vlahovic?
What came before a World War I tank in terms of like early mechanical vehicles that didn't turn?
No, but I don't understand. I mean, if they Dusan Vlahovic doesn't score enough, isn't technical enough, can't play with his back against the goal, then what is Rasmus Højlund?
I said actually, Luca asked me about Højlund, and I pretty much said what you said. I said, you're going from a player, Dusan Vlahovic, who scores not enough goals, but his goal record's not awful. But the problem everyone has with Vlahovic is his all-round game is a disaster. So you're going from that to Rasmus Højlund, whose all-round game
is awful.
It's not good enough, but also doesn't score goals anymore. You're not even getting the goals with him. Yeah, I don't know if I see that. I think that if Kolo Muani doesn't come, then Juventus are in desperation stage, and they might be desperate and be forced into a Højlund, try and go for Højlund on a loan or something. They'll be forced into basically, if Colin Muani doesn't come in, Juventus will basically be desperate, like they were with a centre back in January, and then just desperately sign a Lord Kelly striker. That's what will happen. But this just to finish on this, this is what happens.
I don't understand.
This is what happens when your planning you're so far behind with your planning. And Juventus have been caught.
There is no planning.
Well, there is no plan. Exactly.
There is no plan.
They've gone into
Tell me what the plan is.
Well, there isn't. But this is what happens. But they had nobody because they got rid of Junsely. They brought in Comolli. Comolli, who's the guy running things now, he only came in 3 weeks ago or 4 weeks ago, 3.5, 4 weeks ago. So you've had the first month, you've had the whole month of June without anyone running the show. Then you've had Comolli come in. He's only just appointed a technical director, Modesto, who only came in like a week ago.
Yeah. And
Juventus now, on the 23rd of July, don't have a sporting director. So you're basically going to go by the time they appoint a sporting director, the summer's over. So they've gone the whole transfer window without anybody like specifically in charge of transfer. So this is what happens. You get chaos. You get everything up in the air. So Juventus are going to go into a new season with things like pretty much a mess. They are. They are going to go in with a mess. But yeah, we'll see. And I think Milan, who are playing right now, actually, as we speak, they're playing Arsenal. Let's have a look at the score, shall we?
Okay.
Allegri entering in style with a 0-0. So 0-0 after 36 minutes, and he gets Arsenal. So yeah, Milan again.
I think it's different from Juve. I think that's different. They actually have a sporting director. They actually have a plan. It's just that they've not been. Well, they do. They have a sporting director. They have a plan.
They have a sporting director, but do they have a plan? I don't really.
I think they do have a coherent plan. I just think that what the problem is that they're not executing it enough, and that you're having to play Pobega as a left back. That's not. That's a little bit.
They've sold him now, Pobega, and didn't they sell him to Bologna?
But my point is there are issues they need to resolve. I just don't think that they are executing as quick enough. With Juve, I don't know what the hell the plan is, and you don't know what the hell the plan is. Nobody seems to know what the hell the plan is. With Milan,
well, you can't have a plan if there's no planner.
well, exactly. With Milan, you actually can see, okay, they're trying to do this. You can see what they're trying to do. It's just taking a bit of long. It's just taking a bit longer, some more time than what you would like, which is fair. But I mean, I don't know. I get Milan fans are frustrated, but because again, Milan come from the back of a atrocious season, an absolute shit show of a season, which we predicted to the letter when Paulo Fonseca was appointed. We all said exactly a year ago, this is going to end badly, not just because of Fonseca, but because this project is not serious. Redbird don't know what they're doing when it comes to football. And we were proven right. It was an unbelievable, unmitigated cluster F. Now they've kind of brought in Inglitare, who I think is a competent sporting director. They brought in a very experienced and good coach in Max Allegri, who you know what you're going to get from. So the structure is in place. It's now about executing it. And that's where I feel that's where they're kind of lacking a little bit. But I mean, then again, preseason hasn't even started. I think Milan are in a much better position in their Mercato than Juve are, if that makes sense.
Yeah, maybe. But I think that Milan have so many gaps in their team still. I mean, I look at them fullback. I mean, okay, Estupiñán's coming in, and we spoke about him on Monday, and I said that in terms of planning, I don't quite understand that strategy-wise. You're getting rid of Theo Hernandez for 25 million, who's the same age as Estupiñán, who's a Brighton reserve, who is coming in for just under 20 million. Okay, Theo Hernandez will be on higher wages, but Estupiñán's not on cheap wages. So for me, that's a certain downgrade. And I like Estupiñán, by the way. A couple of years ago, I really used to like him at Brighton when De Zerbi, under De Zerbi, but then the last year or so he's started to fall away, and he doesn't even get in a team now. So that's a bit of a strange one for me. And then I look at they need at least another left back. They need one, maybe two right backs. They need at least another central midfielder, maybe two. They need a striker. They've got so many holes in their team and their squad. And I don't know. I'm a little bit concerned. I mean, like, how strong is their defense? What formation are they going to play? I guess I'm not watching the Milan game.
I Allegri. Did you see that press conference? He was asked 4-3-3. He was asked, so are you going to play a 4-3-3? Or he said, what about? Someone asked him, what about a 4-3-3? And Allegri goes, to do what? And then they were trying to push him into saying what formation he's going to play, and he completely Allegri'd himself out of that, saying, listen, there's going to be 10 players on the pitch, like 10 outfield players playing. We'll see what formation it is. Oh, I'm going to have so much fun this season. I'm already looking forward to him he's going to Allegri his way in press conferences. I'm so pissed off with Marotta for bringing in this Romanian PE teacher when we could have had Allegri. So annoyed. Three mascots, one from the treble, one from the treble era, one from the Conte Scudetto, and one from the banter. I could have had Allegri.
Maybe you'll get him next season. Who knows? Maybe.
No, he's never going to come to Inter, and it pisses me off. Oh, I would have loved to have him at Inter.
I would have loved it as well. I'd have loved us to change characters. I would have become Nima, and you'd have become Carlo.
I would have loved every second of him. Watching Inter play, and I can snooze in and out, knowing I'm going to win 1-0, not going to be any drama. And then afterwards, he's going to come out and troll everyone and piss everyone off, you included. I love it.
I don't know. Listen, we'll see. We'll see with Milan. I think that a lot depends on Yashari. I think the Club Brugge play, because they're going to spend. I mean, I think that deal probably is going to get done because he's pushing so hard.
Yeah, he really wants to join Milan.
The player is pushing so hard. He's refusing everyone else. He's starting to become a bit of a pain in the ass. And I think that eventually, you would think, based on how these things usually work, you think that will eventually happen. If it does happen, and then a lot depends on just how well this guy does. He's been described as a really special talent. And if he becomes, him, if Modric still has a good year in him, Ricci can just protect that defense, which is what Milan have needed. Then you've got a midfield there that maybe, that can be a really good midfield. Then you've got a team that, they can control games, they can dictate, manage games, and then you potentially.
Jimenez Leao is actually a decent attacking. It's
Pulisic and Leao, if Allegri can set them up, put them in the right conditions to show their. I mean, Pulisic will always. You always know what you're going to get from Pulisic, whoever the manager is. There's no doubts there. But Leao, we know what he's like. He needs to be put in the right conditions. He needs to have the right manager feel okay.
But he seems very. This is a different Leao. I don't know if you've noticed, but to me, I see something different with Leao.
Well, listen. One thing about Allegri,
he looks more fired up.
Allegri is a great manager. There's no doubt about that. Allegri knows how to handle the changing room, even when the team are playing badly and even getting bad results and not getting good results. Generally, he knows how to handle that side of things. He's very good with the media as well. So I have no doubts about that with Allegri. And so I don't. Leao might be okay in that sense.
No, he already looks. If you look at what the things that Leao is saying, if you look at how he is, he's got the vibe of a player that has a point to prove. He's got that kind of the fire under his belly kind of thing. And if Allegri can keep him in that state of mind, look, Rafael Leao firing on all cylinders, hungry. Is just
the thing about Leao is I always think that he's much better in teams that are playing slightly counter-attacking, because he needs space to run into. When he has all the play when he has all the play in front of him in tight spaces, when the team's defending in their own, then he struggles because he's not that kind of player.
If Allegri manages to be the manager that unlocks Rafael Leao, I will turn your life into
no, because I think
no. Everyone has tried, but Allegri succeeds.
Well, no, listen. I think Pioli did pretty damn well.
He did all right.
He did all right. He won the Scudetto thanks to Leao and Inshallah. So I don't think I don't think you can say that. I do think that actually playing in a slightly kind of conservative team, that he has the space to on the counter attack actually will suit
I think
Leao
so as well.
more than playing in a possession tiki-taka team that are just dominating, and then he can't open up his legs,
No.
So okay, right. So yeah, that's Milan basically. And Juventus, I think there are certainly concerns there. Inter, look, we've spoken about Inter. We spoke about them to death on Monday, so let's leave that for now. Roma, though, have started to get moving now.
Yeah.
They had done nothing, but they've just signed even Ferguson on loan from Brighton. They've already signed Neil El Aynaoui from Lens, and they should be soon closing a deal for wing back Wesley, and then Verona centre back Daniele Ghilardi as well. What do you
I'm
think
happy about Ghilardi. I hope that
Ghilardi was impressed me in the Euro under 21s. I thought he was really, really good.
No, I'm happy. I'm happy with what they're doing because I like the fact that they're bringing in a young Italian player, a young Italian central defender. Wesley could, I don't know too much about him, but it's going to be interesting. El Aynaoui is the Moroccans are excited about him, and Evan Ferguson is he was great a couple of seasons ago at Brighton, but he's only 20 years old. It's a loan with an option, so it doesn't hurt them too much. I like what I've seen from Roma so far. It's an interesting Mercato, and it's a Mercato that is very much in line with their manager, and I think that's the right move. If you bring in Gasperini, you have to give Gasperini what he wants. A little bit like Conte, you can't mess about. With those guys, they are ideologues. You have to give them what they want, and you have to keep them happy. So, I like what Roma have done so far. I really do. I think it's interesting. It's going to be very interesting to see how they get this together.
Yeah. Yeah, right.
I'm laughing
at the word interested. It's like the word that you use, not you, but words that you use when you don't really know much about other player. And you say, it's an interesting player.
No, I'm saying the project is interesting. And I'm saying it's an interesting Mercato.
Well, no, I would say the same about Wesley. I think he's an interesting signing. So
but
I haven't seen much of him.
I did say I haven't seen much of him, so I don't know much about him. But I'm just saying their Mercato overall to me is rather interesting.
But Ferguson is somebody that was a wonder kid when he burst into the scene and looked incredible. An incredible young talent, and when he came, and then weirdly the last 2 seasons he's fallen away. Starting off with De Zerbi, and who started to kind of use Danny Welbeck more than him, and then last season was disaster on loan at West Ham. So again for Ferguson, it's the kind of move that Gasperini. If it's the Atalanta Gasperini, you couldn't have picked a better manager to play for as a youngster that wants to try and break out. So it's but he has attributes. He's a big, stocky guy. I mean, he was compared to Rooney, kind of like Rooney, who was like a man when he was 17 years old, and looked like a man when he was 17 years old.
Professional boxer.
Yeah,
the physique of a professional boxer.
Yeah, I mean, Ferguson is like that. Ferguson is a big, strong guy. So I'm interested to see, because if he can maximize his potential, then Roma have got like a really, really exciting young player then. And I think that is kind of that's what these transfers show. It's Roma going for players who are young, up and coming players. So you're talking about strategy, and you're talking about clear plans, and we're saying that Juventus don't really have a clear plan, and Milan sort of do, sort of don't. I see them kind of jumping around a bit, but okay. Roma definitely have a clear plan. Whether the plan works or not is another thing, but you can see their strategy under Gasperini. They're going for more, younger players. And that's a little bit of a move away, kind of like the Roma that we've seen, certainly like under Mourinho. And recently, when buying these kind of players, like even on loans and experienced players, and now they're going for younger players. So, yeah, that will be interesting to see. Bologna.
Interesting,
yeah. Use that word. Bologna, though, Ciro Immobile and Federico Bernardeschi both going to Bologna. I don't know what to think about this because it doesn't feel like very much of a Sartori sign.
And it doesn't feel like a Vincenzo Italiano thing either.
No.
Like, what are they doing? Maybe everything I'd hoped for with Italiano, because I still think that last season Bologna for 2-3 months played the best football in the Serie A, and now they've gotten rid of Bokema. We'll see what happens with Endoi. Lukumi's probably going to leave. I mean, it's not.
No, I'm looking at their signings, and their only signings. Well, their signings so far are those two: Bernardeschi and Immobile. They brought in Vitic from Sparta Prague, who's a youngster, supposed to be talented youngster. So he'll replace Bokema. Said his name right now.
Yeah,
I want to say Boykema just to annoy. What's his name? Pobega as well. Pobega. Yeah. So they haven't, again, like so far they've downgraded, and Ndoi, Napoli have just placed a new bid for him. Nottingham Forest are in talks as well. So Ndoi is going to be a difficult one to keep hold of.
I consider him gone. Like I considered Ndoi gone.
It's going to be hard, isn't it? It's going to be hard to keep hold of him. Yeah.
And then what happens with Lukumi as well?
Lukumi, that's the other one, yeah. Well, he has a release clause, I believe, and it's quite low as well. So they're not in control of his situation, and so there's still a month to go, and you think Sartori is so good that he'll be able to pull some rabbits out of the hat there, but yeah, we haven't seen any of the great Sartori work in the market. We haven't seen it. I mean, maybe Vitic is one of those. We'll see with him, but yeah.
But I mean, if Napoli get Ndoi, I mean, one does not simply give Antonio Conte Dan Ndoi. Like, what? Do the rest, like, you don't do that. Do you want him to win? Like, like that? It's just he's the perfect Conte player, isn't he?
He seems like it. Yeah, he seems like that the kind of player Conte will love. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Neres, him. Lukaku, De Bruyne, Bokema. I mean,
I have to say one thing though. Napoli lost the friendly yesterday, 2-0 to Arezzo. Did you see the state of Kevin De Bruyne? Did you see how big he was? Did you see how big Kevin De Bruyne was?
I didn't want to say anything.
I had to double check it because I thought it was, like sometimes people, because have you seen some of these AI videos right now?
Yeah.
Like people, they've gone mad. In the last week, I've been getting all kinds. I saw, that Coldplay concert that's been going viral of the CEO and his mistress. And like, there's this AI videos we go around of like, there's one of Allegri. Allegri's with I'm not sure who it's with, but Allegri's hugging someone, and then there's one of Çalhanoğlu and Lautaro. There's Giuntoli and Thiago Motta. There's like all these so I had to check to see like, is it actually like real? Oh my god, he looks like. He looks like Wesley Sneijder. Have you seen Wesley Sneijder now? Yeah. Or Hazard, or like one of these guys. Like they've just gone massive. What the hell is going on there?
But I mean, Conte the training regime that Conte.
He was playing for Belgium a month ago.
Yeah, but footballers usually
in a month. What's he done in the space of a month? I mean, has he gone to Napoli and just eaten all the sfogliatella and the?
Sorry, but you can eat I'm sorry, the food in Naples is unbelievable. I'd probably I'd probably gain as much weight as he did if I went there and lived there too. Like, I can imagine that. But no, but seriously, I think usually footballers do balloon up some more than others.
Not that big. Come on. Did you see him? He was hanging out there like Escobar. Like final scene of Escobar when he's just like, Escobar sitting over on the bench, sort of like.
Yeah. No, it looks No, but I mean, look, preseason just started. I'm sure Conte will have him fit in no time. I mean, he did it with Lukaku at his age, so
Lukaku,
yeah. So I mean, I'm sure Conte will sort that out. But yeah, no, it's looking like a good market for Napoli.
It wasn't a good debut though for Napoli. Put it that way. It was De Bruyne with a massive belly and Lang giving away a penalty. It wasn't a good start.
I don't listen. I mean, for me, friendlies are just whatever. Like I don't care about that. But yeah, we'll see. But I am a little bit concerned about Bologna more than I am about Atalanta and anyone else. I got to be honest with you there.
Yeah. Right. Before we finish, let me see. Is anybody else we want to talk about? I mean, Napoli.
Fiorentina. I want to talk about Fiorentina.
We can't talk about Lazio because they're not doing anything. Fiorentina. What do you think of them?
I like this project. I'm really happy about Pioli being back. I like the fact that they're going after young Italian players. I like that Edin Dzeko coming in to be a backup. I like that. I hope they'll be able to keep Goodmanson and Ken. I like what they're doing. And with Comuzzo, Ranieri, Mandragora, Parisi, Fazzini, Fagioli. No, I like this project. And also, above all, I think he's a manager who I think can actually finally win them the Conference League. And I think that would be great if they manage to do that. I think they need a trophy. And I would love it if Pioli returned to Italian football and won a European trophy for Fiorentina. No, I like this project. I think they're doing something that might surprise. I think they could surprise people in the Serie A if this is the Mercato they end up with, and if they're able to keep their best players. I think they could be an outsider for top 5 even, because I really like what I've seen.
Yeah, I mean, I like that they're going for young Italians, and I think we spoke about a few weeks ago about the percentage of their Italians in the Primavera and the youth team going back down to the young teenage groups, and how many Italians they are, and it seems to be like something that Rocco Commisso is really trying to do. So that's good for the Italy national team and Italian football.
And it's not just that they're Italian; they're all from Tuscany as well. Like it's team section. I love it. He's it's nice that he's doing that. He's keeping it local, and I think that's important for a club like Fiorentina to kind of keep these local roots, to be have a connection with the community there. It's a very special place, Florence. Having lived there and having family there, it's not like every place in Italy is unique, but Florence is. You have to remember, this is a city that ruled Europe. The Medici banker family, they essentially ruled the world from there. They're a very proud people, and they do think they have an important history, and it kind of rubs off politically as well as in football as well. And I think what Commisso's doing after having a bit of a difficult time in the beginning, I think now he's actually managing to win people over and working with as opposed to against people. I mean, the Viola Park thing is just extraordinary, and I think they all are kissing made up and trying to do something about this stadium as well. And no, I think that project is moving in the right direction, and I like it. I like Fiorentina. Fiorentina is, I want to see them do well in Europe, and I want to see them do well in the Serie A as well. I like that.
Yeah, well said. Right. Okay, let's finish off then with Baggio, Premface, and Serie AS of the week. Okay, so Baggio, and we've already talked about it. I want to say Italy women. Just fantastic achievement for getting to seconds away from the Euros final. And
again, we have to underline, nobody expected them to do this. They were the surprise team of the tournament. Like Germany, Spain, England.
I also want to give a shout out also to the coach, who pretty much everybody, all the experts in women's football have been saying was the best manager at the tournament. Italy have been tactically the best team at the tournament.
Solid,
he's actually a former Avellino player, actually,
really?
Which I didn't know about. Yeah, I was looking it up yesterday. Let me find it. What year did he play? His name is Andrea Sontin, who played for Avellino in what season was it? He's played for a lot of teams. He played for Torino. He played for Fiorentina. He played for Atalanta. He played for Avellino in 2013, 2014.
Cool.
He was Venezia caretaker manager in 2022. And he took over Italy women in 2023.
No, it's been a I'm really happy for them because they really did overperform, and they did well. So congrats to them. I think.
Yeah, well done. Premface of the week. I love this. This is so good. I love Ian Wright. Like when I was a kid, Arsenal were my English team, and I loved Ian Wright. He was my favourite player. So this
Seems like a lovely man, doesn't he?
Yeah, he is. He is a good guy. He's a good guy. But this was hilarious. So he was one of the pundits on the Italy versus England women's game, and the Italy scorer Barbara Bonanzea, he called him Boninzegna, which I loved. So good.
Yeah, my thing is One Football. So they put out this engagement farming image. Arsenal today. Arsenal trail Milan by just 2 trophies. And then they put Milan have 50 trophies, Arsenal have 48. There's only one problem with that. Milan have won 7 Champions Leagues, Arsenal have won 0. Milan have won the Serie A 19 times, Arsenal have won it 13. The last time Arsenal won the league was before the invention of Instagram, Twitter, Facebook was 5 months old. I mean, I could go on forever as to how many, the important
Nima
things
was
that
at
have happened
college.
in history. What?
Nima was at college.
Yeah,
Nima
I was 22. I was 23. But and 17 of those trophies are the charity community shield. So I mean, it's what? No, yes, mathematically, Arsenal are trailing Milan by 2 trophies, but
maybe
really?
Milan should add their Silvio Berlusconi trophy.
I was going to say the Birra Moretti trophies and the Silvio Berlusconi and the Coppa del Nonno and whatever else they've won. It's ridiculous. It's so silly. It made me laugh a lot. So that was a big Premier League. That was a big Prem. That's a Prem face for me. That was, and I've got a Serie ASS as well. I'm surprised you have not seen this.
Go on, tell me.
Have you seen? I know you don't like him, but I actually don't mind him. But this was embarrassing.
Don't say speed.
Did you see that embarrassing Ibrahimovic? He's with Pogba speed. Ibrahimovic calls him and scolds him for blanking his DMs on Instagram, and Speed records the entire conversation and puts it on his social media. I have never. I wanted to die. I wanted to die. Like, it was so cringe. Not for Speed, for Ibrahimovic. It was so.
Why is he getting involved in these kind of things? Oh my god!
It literally is like that Steve.
I'm now started watching Boardwalk. I've started watching Boardwalk.
Needs to accept that he's a middle-aged man. He's not.
Well, no, I'm now starting to think whether you remember the infamous game last year of first one to move is gay. I'm actually now starting to wonder whether that might have actually been Ibrahimovic's idea.
Yeah, absolutely. I wouldn't put it past him. It's
Speed so comes out of it. Speed is the normal one, and Zlatan's the Gen Z loser.
So bad. It's so bad. It's like when he's become like Madonna, old, podgy and old, and trying to be relevant. You know what I mean? It's horrible, and it's just so cringy, and it's like, age gracefully. All right, please, Zlatan, age gracefully. Please age gracefully. Like, accept that you're middle-aged. It's okay. We're all going down that path. Accept it, and don't try to be a hip kid, because you're not. Like,
you could still be middle-aged and cool, though, right? You could still.
Yeah, but you don't need. Yeah, but you can't.
You do it in the right way. You don't.
By accepting your age and being.
Like Mourinho for me. Like Mourinho is 62. Yeah, but forget how he looks. He's cool.
No, I'm talking about his behavior.
No, but in terms of like he can still be cool with a younger generation. Do you know what I mean? There's
because he's not trying to be like them.
Yeah,
that's the thing.
Yeah,
he's accepted that he's the elderly. He's a 60-year-old man now, and he's. That's what I mean about aging gracefully. Is nothing more pathetic than someone trying to pretend like they're 20 years old when they're not, when they're 40, 50, 60. It's embarrassing. I call it Madonna syndrome. because that's what she's been doing for the last 30 years.
Well, she's had a bit of plastic surgery as well.
Well, I don't care about how she looks. I don't care about how she looks. I'm talking about not understanding and accepting that you're no longer 25. Okay, just it's every age of your life has a beautiful aspect to it. Act your age gracefully. Stop trying to cling on to something that was over 20 years ago. It's pathetic and sad, and it's just all so cringy. It's so cringy. Please, Zlatan, don't become that middle-aged man at the club who's desperately trying to be hip with his. You know what I mean? Like, don't be that guy. Please don't be that guy.
What did Steve Buscemi say when he went
Hi, fellow kids. Like that film. Hi, fellow young kids.
So good.
With a cat back.
I've started watching Boardwalk Empire again. I haven't watched it for about 10 years. He's so good at that. I love him. He's a genius. He's so funny. He's funny even when he's sinister. That's what's so great about him. Yeah. Right. Okay. Let's leave it at that. So yes, we'll be back next week with our rescheduled Juventus deep dive with Mirko Di Natale, and we will have probably Q&A as well. And then Nima's planning on an Inter.
Yeah, I'm trying to sort out an Inter deep dive for the week after, and then we need to sort out because we have Pedula on as well.
Yeah.
Soon.
Yeah, we'll get Pedula back on, and then I'm sure we'll have a proper preview of the new season as well. When is the Serie A season starting? Is it middle of August or?
Yeah, I think it's the 25th, isn't it?
The
first 3 match days have already been scheduled and confirmed. Lo and behold. So let me just because people were asking me, they couldn't believe that actually happened.
Yeah, they finally seen the light. Yeah, 23rd of August. Yeah.
Yeah, it's that weekend. Yeah. Yeah, 23rd. Yeah, the 23rd, and then the 29th, and then it's a 2-week international break, and the Mercato closes.
Cool. And Milan are 0-0 at half time against Arsenal.
It's a pre-season. You can't stop moaning about Allegri on the 23rd of July. I'm sorry. You need to savor your own.
I'm praising them. Well done to holding Arsenal to a 0-0. Right. Okay. Let's leave it at that. We'll see you next week. Have a great week, everybody. Ciao, ciao.